Did you want a JPS tab? It was up there. I just used it to write them because I'm reading half tomorrow, so I want to know the page. No, they're meant to be up there, but.
I've had my first joke. Well, I know my brother's going to give me a charity shirt. You're fine.
Yeah, but then you said a reminder there. Yeah.
We're aware again in that.
Anne doesn't know. She thinks it might be a mistake. Anyway, the fact is that there is no alternative. Normally, there's no alternative. So the accident thinking about that was probably a bit too soon to remind.
Good morning, my darling.
Send them out with the email which goes on at the end of October.
So they're going to Zambia. So 3 days or so. Now we're waiting to see what the side effects. Because he's supposed to come and do this with us. They said it's already fine. It depends on the side effects.
It won't take me.
What kilo or
Yeah,
or the
kilo or any reminder.
And within a couple of weeks.
well, at least they might open the envelope. And then we'll see. People might have their mind on it. So when you open the envelope, in your face, is it? That should be
Upside down. Oh no, the slippers had no tread and they slipped.
But you get afraid sometimes when you are distracted by other things. Because when I was
Lower that one and then stand over there.
I used to regularly leave the handbag here, which was a very long thing to do.
Yeah,
And
that's
the
about
thing
it,
was
isn't
you
it?
were
Yeah.
starting another one. Actually, I kept afraid.
It's always like that. Is
Oh, I do.
I think it is. I think that's absolutely.
It's definitely not good. And they don't park the bedroom.
And then it stands up. So if you lift it up and turn it round, that's it. I reckon. So that's side of the groove, yeah. And there, that's it. And then tighten it. Yeah. Because that thing would sit on that. But then this one.
We've got our everybody. I went to Tesco this morning. And there's a couple from North put it together. The sun's got down. Oh no. You know what? I was at work parents and this girl came in. I thought they were looking for a grandma, a 21-year-old girl, renal problems in a wheelchair. My heart broke. I went into Elena. Subliminal message to say this girl's 41 and a half. She's very ill. Say, get things in the pressure. Yeah. Because I don't know how serious this thing is. But, you know. And I have garage. Yeah.
There's nothing, there's nobody up there. Oh, I've said that for a long time.
That frightens me, Janet. That really frightens me. She's got to blame someone.
Pollution.
Sorry?
Pollution and stress.
It is.
We'll have to do is we'll have to, if something else wasn't next year, we'll do it together. Sure. It's the first time I've tried to go around. I think I've done it assisted. Yeah, I know, I think so. Yeah, okay, you're just... Yeah, your question there. Yeah, I know.
Legs and the width of the will be victorious. Made especially for
I'm here probably something. Well, I'll possibly. So go. Yeah. So you'll be here at 10:30. Oh yeah, so that's nice.
Welcome back, Mary.
Thank you. I was just saying, old age is a terrible thing, but I guess if you consider the alternative.
Yes.
And I understand you've chosen a Laurel and Hardy too, so you don't alone.
Well, not today, but maybe next month.
This is one of the piano, being pushed up the steps, right? Anybody remember that?
Leave it.
Variation on the Sisyphus theme. Yeah. Greek mythology. Yeah. It doesn't work. Okay. Right. Okay. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. We're on page 122, and if you're warm enough, please stand. Ba'ani tefilati lecha Adonai et ratzon Elohim barov hasdecha aneni be'emet yishecha. Please be seated. Eternal God, we come before you surrounded by members of our community. With them we share our happiness and it becomes greater. Our troubles and they become smaller. May we never be too mean to give nor too proud to receive. For in giving and receiving we discover you and begin to understand the meaning of life. Let us not separate ourselves from the true strength of our community, the experience and wisdom of old people, the hopes of the young, and the examples of care and courage which sustain us. Give us an open mind and a generous heart to welcome those who need us and to admit your presence into our daily life. We praise you, eternal God, sovereign of the universe, for the strength that comes to us through our community. We should revere God in all that we do, privately as well as publicly. Acknowledge the truth and speak it in our hearts. Ribon kol ha'olamim, lo al tzidkotenu anachnu mapilim tachanunenu, lefanecha, ki al rachamecha harabim, ma'anachnu, mechayenu, mechastenu, ma yeshuatenu, ma tzidkenu, ma kochenu, ma gevuratenu, ma nomar lefanecha Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu. Halo kol hagiborim ka'ayin lefanecha, v'anshe Hashem kalo hayu, achamim kibli mada, unvonim kibli haskel, ki rov ma'asenu tohu, v'imei chayenu hevel lefanecha, u'matar ha'adam min ha'behema ayin, ki hakol havel. Nevertheless, we are your people, children of your covenant, called to your service. Therefore, 'tis right we should thank and praise you, to proclaim your holiness, and daily say before you. Worshipped by your people, lauded and glorified by those who love and serve you. With songs of praise we extol you and proclaim your sovereignty, sole source of the life of all worlds. We praise you, sovereign God, to whom all praise is due. With dawn and dusk I seek you, reach out and look to you. With soul athirst I yearn for you. I am a beggar at your door. The galaxies cannot contain you, yet you dwell in my inmost being. I hold your glory in my heart. My love for you exceeds my speech. So I will praise your name, Eternal One, as long as your breath of life remains within me. Praise be the Eternal One forever. Amen. Amen. Praise be the Eternal God, the God of Israel, who does wonderful things. Let God's glorious name be praised forever, and let the whole earth be filled with God's glory. Amen and amen. Aloha kol briot, adon kol toladot, v'lal v'rov hatishmachot. Amenahe golamo b'chesed uvriotav b'rachamim, v'chalavarcha anachnu modim. That though our mouths should overflow with song as the sea, Our tongues with exultation as the roaring waves, and our lips with praise as heaven's wide expanse. And though our eyes shine as the sun and moon, our arms spread forth like the wings of eagles, and our feet speed swiftly as hinds, still we could not fully thank you, eternal God, for your infinite kindness to our ancestors and to us. Therefore the limbs you have formed in us, the spirit you have breathed into us, and the tongue you have set in our mouths, all shall unite to thank and praise, extol you and exalt you, the sovereign God. Every mouth shall thank you, every tongue bear witness to you. Every knee shall bend to you, every body bow down to you. Every heart shall revere you, and every fiber of our being shall sing your praise. For so it is written, all my bones shall say, who is like you, eternal one? Therefore we extol you and proclaim your glory, and praise your holy name, as it is said, praise the eternal one, O my soul. Let all that is within me and praise God's holy name. ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו, האל המלך הגדול והקדוש בשמיים ובארץ. כי לך נאה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, שיר שפחה, הלל וזמרה, ברכות והודאות, מעתה ועד עולם. Baruch atah Adonai, Abocher b'shirei zimra. And let's turn over to 135. Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach. Baruch Adonai hamvorach. Le'olam. Please be seated. We praise you, eternal one, our God, sovereign of the universe, maker of light, creator of darkness, author of peace, and creator of all things. In your mercy you give light to the earth and all who live on it, and in your goodness you renew creation continually day by day. How manifold are your works, O God! With wisdom have you made them all. The world is full of your creations. Your handiwork proclaims your praise. The radiant stars bear witness to your glory. We praise you, O God, creator of light. Ahava Rabbah Ahavtanu Adonai Eloheinu. Chemla Gedola V'Teirach Amalta Aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu. Ba'avor Avotenu Shabbatchu V'cha. Vatlandem Chukei Chayim. Ken Techonenu Utlandenu. V'ten B'Libeinu L'Avinu L'Haskil. L'Shmoa L'Ilmod U'Lamed. L'Shmor V'La'asot. U'Kayim Ekol Divrei Toratacha. B'Hava. V'Ha'ereinenu B'Toratacha. V'Labek Libeinu B'Mitzvotacha. V'Chein L'Maveni L'Hava U'Yira Et Shemecha. Kivanu V'Charta L'Yechedecha B'Hava. Baruch atah Adonai, Abocher Ba'amo Yisrael B'Hava. And let's stand. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol levavecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh Asher Anochi Mitzavecha Hayom Al Levavecha V'shinantam Levanecha V'dibarta Bam V'shivtecha B'beitecha V'vlevtecha B'derech V'shochacha V'pnecha V'kshartam Levot Al Yadecha V'hayu Letotachot Beinecha V'vtatam Al Mezuzot Beitecha V'visharecha. Please be seated. Good and beautiful and true, sound, established, and enduring are these words now and forever. True it is, eternal one, that you are sovereign God and Redeemer. As you were the God and Redeemer of our ancestors, you are our Maker, the rock of our salvation. We have known you always as our helper, our liberator. There is no God but you. Truly you are first and you are last. We have no Redeemer but you. Redeemed us from Egypt and freed us from the house of bondage. And then with great joy, Moses, Miriam, and all Israel together sang to you this song. גאולים לשמך על שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו. Eternal God, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu ve'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor B'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chastei Avot V'imavot, U'mevi Geula Livnei B'neihem, L'ma'an Shmo B'Yahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, V'chaim Etim Atah Rav L'Moshiach, Mashiv HaRuach HaMorid HaGeshem, Mazriach HaShemesh HaMorid HaTav, Mechakel Chaim B'Chesed, V'chaim Etim B'Rachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim V'Rofech Olim, U'Matir Asurim, U'Mkayim Emunato L'Shenei Afar, Mi Chamocha Ba'al Gevurot, Umi Domelach, Melech Meinitum Chaye U'Masmiach Yeshua, V'Ne'eman Atala HaChayot Metim, Baruch Atah Adonai, V'Chaye HaMetim. We sanctify your name on earth. As in the prophet's vision, the hosts of heaven sing your praise above, for so it is written. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Zebaoth, Kavodo Malei Olam. Baruch Adonai, Nimkom Chamakenu Tofia, V'timloch Aleinu Ki Mechakim Anachnu Lach. Nimloch Adonai Leolam, Leolam Zion, Ledor Ledor, Hallelujah. From generation to generation we will make known your greatness. To the end of time we will proclaim your holiness. Your praise, O our God, shall never depart from our lips. We praise you, eternal one, the holy God. Please be seated. You inspired our ancestors to hallow this day for your service. When upon its coming we pause to contemplate our life, we learn anew that we do not live by bread alone, but also by the spiritual nourishment we receive when we open ourselves to your influence. We thank you for the Sabbath day and for the opportunity it offers to enhance the quality of our lives. We thank you for its joy and for its peace. Our worship help us to take into our hearts its message of holiness. Let's create all our days by devotion to what is true, beautiful, and Kachenu b'mitzvotecha, v'ten chalkenu b'toratecha, sabenu metuvecha, v'samchenu b'shuatecha, v'taher libeinu lovdecha be'emet, v'chanichidenu Adonai Eloheinu, b'hava uvratzon Shabbat kodshecha, v'anuchu v'ach Yisrael mekadshe shemecha, Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh Shabbat. Eternal God, be gracious to your people Israel, and in your love accept their prayers. May our worship now and always be acceptable in your sight. We praise you, O God, whom alone we worship in reverence. We give thanks that you, eternal one, our God, as you were the God of our ancestors, you're the rock of our life, the power that shields us in every age. We thank and praise you for our lives which are in your hand, for our souls which are in your keeping, for the signs of your presence we encounter every day, and for your wondrous gifts at all times, morning, noon, and night. We praise you, O God, source of goodness, to our thanks are due. Sim shalom tova uvracha. chen v'chesed v'rachamim aleinu v'yol kol Yisrael amecha. Barachenu Avinu, kulanu ke'echad ba'or panecha, ki ba'or panecha natata lanu Adonai Eloheinu, Torat chayim, v'havat chesed, tzedakah uvracha v'rachamim v'chayim v'shalom, v'tov beinecha levarech et amecha Yisrael, and kol ha'amim, v'choletu v'chol sha'ah b'shlomecha, Baruch atah Mosaic Shalom. Page 481 for our full service. There is none like you, eternal one among the God's people worship. There are no deeds like yours. Your sovereignty is everlasting. Your reign endures from age to age. Eternal one, you reign, you have reigned, you will reign forever. Eternal God, give strength to your people. Eternal God, bless your people with peace. Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Eternal One is our God, the Eternal God is one. Let us magnify the Eternal One. Together, let us exalt God sings. So we're reading from the Siddur known as Ha'azinu. It's the penultimate one in the scroll. Just after it is Zot HaBracha, which is the one that our Khatan Torah will read. And this is mostly a very long poem. And then it's followed by a section about Moses going up to Mount Nebo, or being told again to go up there and what's going to happen to him. So to give really a flavor of this whole Sidra, my usual practice is to read the first bit of the poem and then to skip over to the last 8 or so verses of the Sidra, which has an account of Moses' last days. So it's chapter 32, verses 1 through 4, and you may recognize a couple of the lines from our funeral services. And then it is 44 to 52, those final verses. And in the JPSA, we start on 325. We skip over a bit and take up again on 329. In the Sonchino, we start on 1159. And then you'll skip up to, it looks like 1168. So 1159, 1168, 325, 329. Everybody got that? Okay. Right. There may be other additions about. Yes.
Baruchu et Adonai HaMavorach. Baruch Adonai HaMavorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher bacha banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai notein ha'Torah.
Give the ear, O heavens, let me speak. Let the earth hear the words I utter. May my discourse come down as the rain, my speech distill as the dew, like showers on young growth, like droplets on the grass. For the name of the Lord I proclaim, give glory to our God. The rock, his deeds are perfect, yea, all his ways are just. Faithful God never falls, true and upright is he. Moses came together with Hosea, son of Nun, and recited all the words of this poem in the hearing of the people. And when Moses finished reciting all these words to all Israel, he said to them, take to heart all the words with which I have warned you this day. Enjoin them upon your children so that they may observe faithfully all the terms of this teaching. Because this is not a trifling thing for you. It is your very life. Through it you shall long endure in the land that you are to possess upon crossing the Jordan. That very day the Lord spoke to Moses, ascend these heights of Abarim to Mount Nebo, which is in the land of Moab facing Jericho, and view the land of Canaan, the land giving the Israelites as their holding. You shall die on the mountain that you are about to ascend, and shall be gathered to your kin as your brother Aaron died on Mount Hor, and was gathered to his kin. For you both broke faith with me among the Israelite people. The waters of Meribah, Kadesh, in the wilderness of Sin, by failing to uphold my sanctity among the Israelite people. You may view the land from a distance, but you shall not enter it, the land that I am giving to the Israelite people. Ha'azinu hashamayim v'adavera, v'tishma ha'aretz imre fi, ya'arof kamatar likhi, tizal kato imrati. Kishirim ale desha, v'chirbivim ale esna. Kishem Adonai ekra, havu godel Elohim. Hatzur tamim po'olo, ki chol drachav mishpat. El emunah ve'ein avel, tzadik v'yashar. Hayavo Moshe v'yidaber et kol divrei hashirah hazot b'oznei ha'am. Moshe ben Nun, v'yichol Moshe l'daber et kol hadivarim ha'ela el kol Yisrael, v'yomer alehem simu levavechem, kol hadivarim asher anochi me'id bachem hayom, asher titzaum et b'neichem lishmor la'asot et kol divrei ha'torah hazot, ki lo davar breik hi mikem, ki chayechem, Vadavar hazeh ta'arich v'yamim al ha'adama asher atem ovrim et ha'yarden shama v'rishta. Vadavar Adonai al Moshe be'etzem hayom hazeh lemor alei el har ha'avarim hazeh har nivo asher be'eretz Moav asher al pnei yerecho urei et eretz Canaan asher ani noten libnei Yisrael achuzah. Umut v'har asher ata ole shama. V'heyasef el lanecha ka'asher met Aharon achicha. V'hor ha'har. V'heyasef el alam. Al asher ma'altem. Bi betoch b'nei Yisrael b'mei merivat kadesh midbar tzim. Al asher lo kidashtem oti. Betoch b'nei Yisrael. Ki mineged tireh et ha'aretz. V'shama lo tavo el ha'aretz asher ani noten b'nei Yisrael.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Please stand, everybody.
Baruch Shenatan Torah Le'amo Yisrael Ikudushato.
Please be seated.
This week's Haftarah is the second book of Samuel, chapter 22, verses 1 to 20. It can be found on page 1170 of the Son Shino Chumash, 1170, page 506 of the JPS Tanakh, and if you do have this version, then it's 695. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher b'cha b'nvi'im tovim, v'ratzah b'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai, haboher b'torah, u'v'moshe avdo, u'v'yisrael amo, u'v'nvi'ei ha'emet b'tzedek. David addressed the words of this song to the Lord, after the Lord had saved him from the hands of all his enemies, and from the hands of Saul. He said, O Lord, my crag, my fastness, my deliverer, O God, the rock wherein I take shelter, my shield, my mighty champion, my fortress and refuge, my saviour, you who rescue me from violence, all praise. I called on the Lord, and I was delivered from my enemies. For the breakers of death encompassed me. The torrents of Belial terrified me. The snares of Sheol encircled me. The coils of death engulfed me. In my anguish I called on the Lord, cried out to my God. In his abode he heard my voice. My cry entered his ears. Then the earth rocked and quaked. The foundations of heaven shook, rocked by his indignation. Smoke went up from his nostrils. From his mouth came devouring fire. Live coals blazed forth from him. He bent the sky and came down, thick cloud beneath his feet. He mounted a cherub and flew. He was seen on the wings of the wind. He made pavilions of darkness about him, dripping clouds, huge thunderheads. In the brilliance before him blazed fiery coals. The Lord thundered forth from heaven. The Most High sent forth his voice. He let loose bolts and scattered them, lightning, and put them to rout. The bed of the sea was exposed. The foundations of the world were laid bare by the mighty roaring of the Lord, at the blast of the breath of his nostrils. He reached down from on high. He took me, drew me out of the mighty waters. He rescued me from my enemies so strong, from foes too mighty for me. They attacked me on my day of calamity, but the Lord was my stay. He brought me out to freedom. He rescued me because he was pleased with me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam, tzur kol ha'olamim, tzadik b'chol hadorot, ha'el ha'ne'eman, ha'omer va'oseh, ha'medaber u'mekayem, shekol devarav, emet v'tzedek. Al ha'torah, ba'al ha'avodah, ba'al hanvi'im, ba'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh, shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu, likdusha v'limnucha, l'chavod u'tifaret. Al ha'kol Adonai Eloheinu, אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך. יתברך שמך בפי כל חי תמיד לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
God, whose dominion embraces the universe, we ask your blessing for our Sovereign Lady, Queen Elizabeth, and all the royal family, for those who govern our country and all who influence the quality of its national life. Make them conscious of their responsibility and teach them to exercise it in accordance with your will. And we all help to fashion in this country a society that excels in freedom, justice, tolerance, and compassion, so that it may be a force for righteousness and peace in the life of humanity. Eternal God, as you blessed our ancestors in generations past, bless now this congregation, its leaders, its members, and all who enter this synagogue to meet, to study, and to pray. Comfort the sorrowing hearts among us and heal those in anxiety or pain. And we hope, Alan, that you didn't endanger your recovery by working too hard over Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. And Janet, we hope your aches and pains are okay. And we hope that Mike continues his good recovery. And I visited Jeanette Schindler yesterday, and she's in good form, I would say. She laments her lack of mobility. It's very frustrating, but she loves her garden, and Simon is there, and we had a very good chat. I also saw Rhoda Cohn yesterday, who had apparently a great day on Thursday, but not such a good one yesterday, and she's being moved back up to Sheffield in a week or two. So essentially it's about finding the home that is her particular level, sort of the care that's needed, and where she isn't quite suitable. And there's one that the family really likes in Sheffield, so it's going back up there. Joy, anybody I've missed, I'm sure. Yeah, and they were both at Rosh Hashanah, Mary and George. Good. Good.
Stanley Jacobs. Sadly, Jacob.
How is he
He's
doing?
not doing very well at all. He's got an infection now, where they did the operation and Alpha was dressing the thing, and then they have to go to GP every other day to have him redressed. He's really not in a good way. He's amazingly optimistic, but physically, really, he's suffering really badly.
Anybody else?
What about Barry Goodman?
Sorry?
Barry Goodman.
Yeah. Barry and Birchwood Grange.
Yeah.
May we all find here community and friendship, renewal of purpose and hope, a deeper understanding of our heritage and a sense of your abiding presence. Bless all congregations of the house of Israel throughout the world. Let those who live under oppressive rule soon be freed. And may we all unite to witness to your truth and do your will. Eternal God, our rock and redeemer, grant blessing to the state of Israel, created to fulfill an age-old dream and to be a haven for the oppressed. Inspire its leaders and citizens with faithfulness to the aims of its founders, to develop the land for the benefit of all its inhabitants, and to implement the prophetic ideals of liberty, justice. May they live in harmony with one another and in peace with their neighbors, and cause to come true once more the ancient vision that out of Zion shall go forth Torah and the word of God from Jerusalem.
Amen.
Hallelujah, et Shem Adonai ki niskab shemo levado. Let us praise the Eternal One, whose name alone is exalted. Teaching is perfect, God's word is unfailing, God's precepts are right, God's commandments are clear, His doctrine is pure, God's guidance is true. Behold, a good doctrine has been given you, do not forsake it. It is a tree of life to those who hold it fast, and all who cling to it find happiness. Its ways are ways of pleasantness, and all its paths are peace. sermons, I mentioned the nation-state bill in Israel. Does anybody know what that is? I realize I threw out this line, and people might be, huh? What's that?
It didn't help the Arabs then, did it?
Daniela, you know?
Something about it that, essentially it's sort of got to be like a majority Jewish state, or non-Jews are not going to have so many rights.
Okay. Anybody else?
And they're also very particular about who they think is supposed to be Jewish, which makes it hard.
Well, what I propose to do today, we'll do this in two parts. Today, we're going to just read the text of it. We'll first read the Declaration of Independence, which is in our prayer book. And we'll turn over to that in a moment. Then we'll read the nation-state bill, and your homework assignment is to think about both and just, in your mind, compare and contrast what the implications or the questions or the gaps might be, yeah? If you fancy trolling the internet and getting all the commentary from, that's fine, that's up to you. And then next week we'll actually look at it in more detail and maybe think about the implications, yeah?
Sorry, can you speak a bit louder because I haven't got my hearing aids in.
Okay.
I'm sorry about that.
That's all right.
I'm not following along. Yeah,
Did I say anything useful?
Shall I? Yeah, I'm sure you did. Shall I sit? Yeah, let me sit.
Yeah.
I can lip read then.
Okay. Well, what if I don't move my lips?
Oh, that's cheating.
Or what if I move my lips in a peculiarly American way? And I say, read my lips, no new taxes. Okay. So let's turn over to 374. 374. Okay. So this is from Israel's Declaration of Independence. Now I should remind you that Israel does not have a written constitution. So we rely on different documents to give the, let's just say, the essence, shall we say. And then I'm, unlike my daughter, I'm not a legal beagle, or unlike Joseph. But if there are different ways of sort of figuring out what the Constitution should be. And in this country we have a way of going about it, which many people regard as very practical, others don't. And in Israel there are other ways in terms of legislation and what the courts get up to. And in America there's a written constitution, but it doesn't necessarily mean things are any safer. So maybe the words like contracts generally are really only as good as the intent of those who are signing them. What do you think about that, Stephen? Is that kind of...
The Second Amendment isn't too cool, is it?
I'm sorry?
The Second Amendment isn't too cool these days.
Yeah, with the right to arm bears. That's an old joke. So, the Declaration of Independence. The State of Israel will be open to the immigration of Jews from all countries of their dispersion. Will promote the development of the country for the benefit of all its inhabitants. You might recognize the prayer for the State of Israel in some bits here. Will be based on the principles of liberty, justice, and peace as conceived by the prophets of Israel. So what prophets might we be referring to? Perhaps Isaiah and Micah. They shall beat their swords into plowshares and things like that. No one will sit under their fig tree. Everyone will sit under their fig tree unafraid. Yeah. Will uphold the full social and political equality of all its citizens. keywords, equality, citizens, without distinction of religion, race, or sex. Will guarantee freedom of religion, conscience, education, culture. Will safeguard the holy places of all religions, and will loyally uphold the principles of the United Nations Charter.
They're not doing it.
Okay, well, we'll save our discussion for next week. Let's explode next week. Okay. Now, if during the week, if you want to go on the internet and just find a translated text of the basic law, yeah, fine. But it's quite short, actually. So, basic law: Israel as the nation state of the Jewish people. 1. Basic principles. A. Maybe I should photocopy this for next week. The land of Israel is the historical homeland of the Jewish people in which the state of Israel was established. B. The state of Israel is the national home of the Jewish people in which it fulfills its natural, cultural, religious, and historical right to self-determination. C. The right to exercise national self-determination in the state of Israel is unique to the Jewish people. 2. The symbols of the state. The name of the state is Israel. B. The state flag is white with 2 blue stripes near the edges and a blue Star of David in the center. C. The state emblem is a 7-branched menorah with olive tree leaves on both sides and the word Israel beneath it. D. The state anthem is Hatikvah. E. Details regarding state symbols will be determined by the law. 3. The capital of the state, Jerusalem, complete and united, is the capital of Israel. 4. Language. A. The state's language is Hebrew. B. The Arabic language has a special status in the state. Regulating the use of Arabic in state institutions or by them will be set in law. C. This clause does not harm the status given to the Arabic language before this law came into effect. 5. Ingathering of the exiles. The state will be open for Jewish immigration and the ingathering of exiles. 6. Connection to the Jewish people. The state will strive to ensure the safety of the members of the Jewish people in trouble or in captivity due to the fact of their Jewishness or their citizenship. B. The state shall act within the diaspora to strengthen the affinity between the state and members of the Jewish people. C. The state shall act to preserve the cultural, historical, and religious heritage of the Jewish people among Jews in the diaspora. 7. Jewish settlement. A. The state views the development of Jewish settlement as a national value and will act to encourage and promote its establishment and consolidation. 8. Official calendar. The Hebrew calendar is the official calendar of the state, and alongside it, the Gregorian calendar will be used as an official calendar. Use of the Hebrew calendar and the Gregorian calendar will be determined by law. 9. Independence Day is the official national holiday of the state. B. Memorial Day for the fallen in Israel's wars and Holocaust and Heroism Remembrance Day are official memorial days of the state. 10. Days of rest and Sabbath. The Sabbath and the festivals of Israel are the established days of rest in the state. Non-Jews have a right to maintain days of rest on their Sabbaths and festivals. Details of this issue will be determined by law. 11. And lastly, immutability. The basic law shall not be amended unless by another basic law passed by a majority of Knesset members. Okay, so maybe what I should do is print all this out for next week. I'll just throw out a couple of key phrases, perhaps to guide your thinking. One word would be Jewishness. Talks a lot about Jewishness, but what sorts or sort of Jewishness? Okay, that's a key question.
Excuse me for interrupting, but some of the clauses are added as will be enacted by the laws of the state. So it seems to me that they're missing that out at the end of this one, according to what they're doing at the moment, because they're making laws about what is considered Jewish.
Okay. The other thing, the tension is obviously the Declaration of Independence has, let's just say, reflecting the late 1940s and Israel being formed, as it were, by the United Nations. It reflects those kinds of universal values of democracy. And the basic law, the nation-state law, seems much more particularistic. So there's the balance of universal versus particularistic that's shifted. So perhaps the thing to think about is where should or could that balance actually be? And are there any things in the Declaration of Independence that seem problematic in terms of maybe it's too universalistic? Or are there any things in the nation-state law that seem too particularistic? Given that we are in the diaspora, given that we are accustomed to a different sort of society, and maybe when we were born, and our status as liberal Jews. Yeah? So let's poke away at it next week, and we'll raise some questions. We may not come to any definitive answers, but let's raise the questions of what changes might be helpful and which ones might be concerning. Yeah? So we'll try and do this in a calm and fairly reasoned way, and then you'll have maybe an effective initial understanding of what this is about. Yeah? Excellent. So I won't trouble your minds today too much, but I will. I'll also bring along next week a couple of comments that if we get a bit stuck, we may or may not find them useful. But I think one of the very key questions is what might be meant by Jewishness. Yeah? Mary, what do you got for us?
A little morning song.
A little morning as in M-O-R or M-O-U-R? On this rainy, dark day.
Thank you.
Wasn't the music great this year?
Yes.
Yes. Great. You missed something, Mary. It was good.
It's always been good.
You could have, snuck in and went to go to sleep in the back room. So let's turn over to page 520 and please stand. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol, la'tet gedula v'yotzer b'reshit, asher sam kokein li'achid et shelo, v'gor aleinu l'hamlik malchuto. Hu Eloheinu ein od, emet malkeinu echas sulato, kakatu b'torato, v'yadata hayom v'hashevota elevavecha, ki Adonai Elohim b'shamayim ma'al, v'haaretz mitachat od. Trusting in you, eternal God, we hope soon to behold the glory of your might, when false gods will vanish from our hearts and idolatry cease forever. Help us to perfect the world by bringing it under your unchallenged rule. When all will invoke your name, relinquish evil, and turn to you alone. May all who dwell on earth come to know that to you every knee must bend and every tongue swear loyalty. Before you let them humble themselves, and to your glorious name let them give honor. Let all submit to your sovereign rule. May that time come soon and last forever. Ultimate sovereignty is yours, and to all eternity you will reign in glory. As it is written, the eternal one shall reign forever. Those who once brought wholeness to our life have gone, and on this Shabbat we remember Lily Spray, Alan Darso, James Feltz, Sylvia Freiman, Clara Heller, Joseph Wilhelm Mantz, and Danielle, we wish you strength and long life as you remember your dear father, Justin Myers. We remember Jacqueline Rosen and Rose Solomons. And would anyone like to mention the name of a friend or loved one today? Yet in the emptiness their passing leaves behind, we are not alone, for we have the companionship of the living, and even our loved ones who have died live on in our hearts, for what they were is part of what we have become. We honor them best when we live as they would wish, responsibly, happily, even in the shadow of our loss. and so draw closer to the source of life, in whom every life finds meaning, purpose, and hope. Yitkadal yitkadash shmei Rabbah, ba'al nadi rach irutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechonu v'yomechon, v'chayei l'chol beit Yisrael, v'galav izman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach ve'elam u'lamei l'mayah. Yitvarach v'yishtabach v'yitfar v'terman v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei v'kudashah v'richu. Le'elam in kol birchata v'ashirata, tushmachata v'nechamata, tamyam ba'uma v'imru amen. Yehei shama Rabbah min shamaya, v'chayim aleinu b'yol kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'roma, v'uyaseh shalom, aleinu b'yol kol Yisrael, b'yol kol b'nei Adam v'imru amen. Please be seated. So what did Nelson Riddle and his orchestra have today?
Just very traditional.
Yeah, Mary will, you'll remember that.
Which one?
Who used to say that? This is American trivia. Nelson Riddle and his orchestra. Who used to say that?
I remember the name. Well, it wasn't Lawrence Welk, that's for sure.
It was Jackie Gleason at the Honeymooners. Did anybody ever watch that? Oh, the best body English in the world.
There is a rhyming slang of Nelson Riddle, which I'm not going to repeat. You know that, don't you?
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, well, basically, Jackie Gleason and Art Carney in the 50s kind of took over from Laurel and Hardy in a way.
Yeah.
And there was the huge one who was always telling off the skinny little one. That's kind of the routine.
Sounds like a bit of instability.
Kinda. And the big one was a bus driver, and the little one worked in the sewers. And the whole thing took place, the set, it never varied. It all took place in a room about like this, which was the kitchen and had a kitchen table in a very modest flat, I suppose in, I don't know, Queens or the Bronx or something. And there are fabulous actors and actresses, these two couples. It was all about timing and gesture. What else, Mary?
I just remember Audrey Meadows, who's a...
Yes, and Sheila McRae.
Yeah. Audrey Meadows, who was Jane Meadows' sister. Jane Meadows was married to Steve, the guy who wrote Something's Gotta Give. When has you... Did you know he wrote that?
It's all too American. But if you're at all curious, go onto YouTube and just dial in an episode of The Honeymooners.
You will love it.
And it's about these couples in the 50s and early 60s. And, you know, the get-rich-quick schemes, which always failed, and how they wound each other up. And it's not very feminist, because when Ralphie got kind of angry, and his wife was always right. And then he would...
Oh, Ralph, you should have known better.
Yeah, and then he would say, Alice, you want to go to the moon? I mean, you know, this is straight out of, the 50s. But anyway, it's something I grew up. And I remember my mother's mother, who never learned English that well. I'm not even sure she understood it. But she thought it was hilarious. Anyway.
Let
Well, actually, there is a connection in all this. It's not just about winding up Mary about Laurel and Hardy and all. I've been reading some fascinating articles about, in a way, the problems associated with masculinity nowadays and the rise of the extreme right wing. And I'm looking forward to speaking about that when we look at the story of Cain and Abel. And the other thing I want to mention, which has just gone completely on my head, no it hasn't, this road out here, and Kenton Road and the roundabout have been the scene of several really bad traffic accidents in the last few days. And last night, when Kathy and I came home quite late from Miriam's after dinner, this road was blocked off on both sides, ambulances, police everywhere. I've tried to find out what happened. I don't know, but please travel carefully, whether you're a pedestrian or a driver. There's been 4 or 5 quite serious along this stretch and a bit further in the last week or so. Change of seasons. I don't know.
Frank, may I just say, while we were remembering notable and lovable personalities, I'm sure you realise that Dennis Norden passed away this year at the wonderful, distinguished age of 96. And he gave so much joy and pleasure in his use of English and what he could do it with his partner, Dennis Norden. So, you know, may he rest in peace.
So maybe I should Google his name and see what
Finally,
Finally, very lastly, Mary, it's great to see you.